So styrene over wood.
Let me stop and start again.
Okay.
So I'm also working on, so last weekend I collected all the dimensions that I could find on Santa Fe boxcars, and they all basically fit into one of these classes, right? And basically I collected all the dimensions on them, and my plan is to design cores that I can just glue the styrene sides to. And I'll have one 3D printed, and then I'll use resin casting to make more of them. And that way I can build a fleet of boxcars, and I really don't have to worry about it. Everything will already be square and all that. So that's been my next project.
Cool.
When did the prototype go from link and pan to regular couplers?
You know, on the Santa Fe, it looks to be about 1898 to 1900. They were an early adopter of air brakes, like in the 1870s, but they waited until the last minute on the automatic couplers.
So you're using, go ahead, Walter.
I can't remember where I seen it, but there was a guy who actually made working brakes on a box car where you could, you know, turn the brake wheel and it would actually go stop it from not a big incline, but like that much, it would hold the car.
That's Bernie.
Yeah.
Bernie did that.
Oh, okay. Well, Phil, you're doing enough detail. I wonder if you'd be interested in trying to make working brakes on the car.
You know, it was an idea I had a long time ago, but I'm not going to pursue that. You know, after my experience with handling the track, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish it for this layout, but if I ever build anything bigger, it's going to be, you know, commercial products. But
Flex track, right?
yeah, flex track and switches, and so after that, I'm wary of going too far down the rabbit hole. You know, there are very few. There's basically, since there's so few engines available, and I'm interested in some of the unusual classes the Santa Fe had and the Atlantic and Pacific had. I want to try scratch building my own engines, but for now I basically trying to build operating models. I'm not all that interested in going to going into the contest level stuff at this time.
Right, right. Do you have any photos of the cars that you've built?
Well, let me see what I got here. Things are kind of not always perfectly organized. Dream project. ATSF flat.
Tell me about it.
All right. Well, let me see.
As organized as I think I am, it just, no.
Share screen.
Sometimes I put a photo in a file and I'm thinking, how does that fit in here?
Okay, I'll just share that screen. So you'll probably see yourselves for a moment. So basically, I'll just kind of walk you through the construction process real quick. I start with a jig. I build my frames in wood, but I build the rest of the car when I get to the sides. Well, and this is the flat top too. I built a few box cars, but they were all one-off, that kind of thing. Oh, I could show you the circuit string. So that kind of weighing the frame down. These I screwed up. I cut the wood too short, so I just stitched them together.
Mm-hmm.
The point of this slide is that I printed off the like a scale of colors and then matched it by eye.
Oh.
And that's how I picked the color. And this was Flow Quill ATSF Mineral Brown. I found that I've since run out and had to find a replacement. So
That's a nice color.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like the red. A lot of people think they were more brown. I'm like, well, I like it the way it is. I don't
Yeah.
like red. So
Absolutely.
Well, if they want to hide rust, that's better for.
well, that's true. So originally I just built a bunch of copies of this version of the freight car and changed the number.
Nice.
So
Are those, whose stake pockets do you use?
I've been using Grants, but I've been using Tiki, but I need to switch to Grants because they're definitely more accurate for the period. Once I run out of the Tiki ones, I'll switch over. Let's see. So on this one, so I've designed my frame so that there's a 1/32 inch recess where I can put a sheet of 1/32 inch lead that I got on Amazon.
Mhm.
And then I put a little bit more in between the center sills. I
And beams?
put the decking on with super glued to the lead weight.
Mm,
And I don't know what I was. Oh, I know what I was doing here. So I used the clamp to hold the car on its side while I glue on the car side.
there's that. Okay.
And okay, so this is the finished result. I think I
And that decal is
must have
just,
skipped all the detail. So
but that decal is not a decal, you're saying. That's just printed paper.
yep.
Wow. With the, okay, so with the right color. Wow, okay.
What are your turnbuckles made with?
So these are Tiki turnbuckles, just the plastic ones. And then for a long time, I was using steel wire for the truss rods. I've since discovered phosphor bronze, and for box cars, I switched to fishing line.
Mm-hmm.
But I like wire for the flat cars because you don't have to put it through anything and tie it off. So
Right.
You know what I found with my flat cars? With a couple of them, you drill the hole all the way, you can drill it all the way through the deck.
Mhm.
And then you pull the line tight. And I found that just the super glue, get some of the thick stuff, and you'll just build up just a little tiny bump, and then you sand it down.
Ah,
By the time you get that deck weathered, they just disappear.
hmm.
That's been my personal experience, especially if you're going with styrene.
That's neat. Yeah, well, for these, I built them all wood, but for like a box car, I do the sides and stuff.
And those are knuckle couplers on there?
Yeah, I use Surgeon Engineering Type E's. I should be using the Sharons, I guess, if I want to be strictly accurate, or even Lincoln Pin. But yeah, there has to be some concession, like I was saying with the track. It's sooner or later you want to operate trains.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. Yeah. Well, at least you're doing your track right. I think, for me, it was always first thing is the track. Once the track is bulletproof, then you can get into some other stuff. But looking back, I was just telling DC the other day, it's one of those classics. If I only knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
You can see the color match came out pretty well. I went a little
Yeah.
crazy with the glue on this one, unfortunately. There's another one.
And those are Tichy pockets?
Yeah, these are the Tichy pockets.
Why do you like the Grant line better?
Well, in the pre-1900 era, the pockets would have been like a cast iron piece with a U-bolt that goes around it. And these are actually just a cast iron piece that's kind of more conventionally bolted on each side, right?
Got it.
These are the AAR or ARA style. What else I got?
Arch bar. That came out very nice.
Thank you. So these are the ones I'm working on the war bonnet article for. What else do I have?
Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm on a Windows.
Okay. Hey, Walt, are you working on
well-
any kind? Oh, go ahead, Phil.
Well, oh no, go ahead. I'm gonna stop the share. I can't find my photos of my circus train that I just built.
Oh, you built a circus train.
Yeah, 6 box cars, oversized, kind of like the Marsden one.
Yeah.
Not quite as big, but big. And then 4 flat cars.
Well, if you ever get those up, send them to me. There's a good friend of mine that belongs to this, the local club I'm in, and that's all he does is circus trains. Yeah. He belongs to that group. There's a circus train modeling group.
Let me try again to find them here.
So what, are you doing anything for the group build?
No, I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Oh, it's, actually I was asking Walter, but,
Oh.
it's a box car. The invitation is to, invite folks to, build a box car out of anything, do it however you want to do it, kit bash it, scratch build it, modify a Mantua, whatever.
Any scale.
Yep.
Well, I could probably post some of what I've actually already been working on. So I'm working on 2 box cars. Again, kind of like the Marsden ones I mentioned last time, that I built them as desk sitters. And so I got 2 of them that I'll be wrapping up here in the next probably month or so.
Desk sitters?
Yeah, so just like I guess I can show a couple of them here that I have. So, oh well, I gotta share before I can bring it up. I'm not entirely sure how to use some of these.
Oh, wow.
So these are ones I built a couple years ago for my desk at work, and they're for the company I work for, right? But I built a white one with the modern logo and a green one with the earliest slogan and company name that I could find. So,
Styrene, of course.
yeah, the sides are styrene on these, and the sides and ends. The roof is wood.
Nice work, man. Jeez.
Thank you.
How long have you been building or model railroading?
I've been model railroading. I got really serious, I'd say about 8 years ago. About 10 years ago, something clicked in my mind, and I'm like 1890s, because I'm a timetable and train order guy. So that's fascinating to me.
Right.
So I wanted a bigger layout, with enough stations to actually make it interesting, right? And I realized that I couldn't do that in the 1940s in a reasonably sized house, given my income level. And, so I thought 1890s, and I found Don's blog, and I found John Ott's website, and a guy at the local club, actually 2 of them supported the idea and lent me some help to get started. And so just kind of snowballed from there. And the more I research it, the more I fall in love and really want to build that era layout.
Right. Yeah, it is a bit of a marriage, no question.
Yeah.
Except you always win the arguments. They don't always come out well, but there's nobody to argue with you,
Yeah, and you can throw the stuff in the trash if you don't.
Yeah.
That's the best part about scratch building. You don't have a great deal invested, and nobody has to know this is your 4th attempt.
Yeah, that has happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you attach those grab irons? Because I've had trouble when I first tried it. I have had real trouble getting. And you look very precise on how you did those grab irons on the side.
Oh, so I made a jig with a piece of scribed styrene. So I took a piece of styrene freight car siding, and I figured out how many boards between the legs of the titchy grab irons, right? And so I just drilled holes, or I marked off where I wanted them height wise on the car.
Yeah.
You can't see what I'm doing with my hands, but I marked off where you wanted them height wise on the car, and drilled the holes in the jig in the board grooves. That way they would go where I wanted them. And then I just kind of clamped that to the side of the car gently with one of those bar clamps, and drill the holes. I actually drill them with a power drill. I find that goes way easier than pin vise. I actually
Oh.
break fewer drill bits with my Black & Decker 3/8" drill, drilling number 76 holes, than I do with the pin vise. So
Oh,
Geez, that's like using a sledgehammer to repair a watch though, isn't it? 3/8" drill.
yeah, it's not easy. It is kind of unusual, right? But hey,
Do you want a
works,
Dremel?
I don't actually. It's been on my list of things to get, but
I tell you, I got 2 Dremels here from Al Mueller.
mhm.
If you want one of those, I'll just send it to you.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Yep. Send me your address offline.
We'll do.
One thing that I did with my Dremel, and it's made a lot of difference for me, is I put one of the flexible shafts on it,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
I put a foot operated speed control.
Yep.
So especially with drilling styrene, you can go real slow so you don't get buildup,
Right.
big holes. And got one of those hooks where you clamped to the side of the desk and hung the Dremel up, and it's a lot easier than using the whole tool.
So how does that work? The foot pedal gets plugged in, or the Dremel gets plugged into the foot pedal?
Right. And then you set the Dremel tool to full speed, and now everything's controlled by the foot pedal.
What plugs into the outlet to give you the juice? The foot pedal?
The foot pedal plugs into the outlet, the Dremel plugs into the foot pedal.
Oh, I gotta get one of those. Holy mackerel.
And
Okay.
I just have the flexible cord. It hangs by the side of the workbench. I just pick it up. I've got the chuck feature in it, so I don't have to use the little collets. And just put a drill in, drill it a couple of times, put it back. And
What's the truck feature?
well, you know that you use the collets.
Yep.
Well, this is just a 3-jaw chuck, like Phil has on his 3/8" drill,
yeah.
except it closes down to 0.
Oh, it's an adapter you can get from like Micromark or something that'll fit in a Dremel?
I got the Dremel one.
Oh,
Micromark also has them that you can put in your cordless screwdrivers too. I got
Whoa.
one that's supposed to be coming tonight by 9 o'clock. I did something very similar to that, Don. I made my own, and I got, like the dimmer switches
yeah.
to control the ceiling light, and I hooked it up and got a box, put an outlet in it, got that in there, and I can control the speed by just with the dimmer switch. Now that is not as easy to do as doing with your foot, but that's what I had at the time available. I had parts on hand to do that. Did not have the cash to buy a foot pedal.
That's very innovative. At least with the switch, you can like set it, and at least you got the speed that you want.
It's very infinitely variable.
Wow. Wow, we have 2 good ideas right here, right now. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Don's with the foot pedal, that is it's easier to work because you've got one hand that's with your work and one hand holding
Yep.
the drill. With mine, it's kind of like you have to make sure the work's secured, or you have to decide that this is going to be the speed that I want it at to do the complete hole.
Right. Where do you get the foot pedal?
I don't know if I got it from Micromark or where I got it now.
Okay.
I think they do
have one.
sell them.
But it's the best thing because you could run the drill real slow until you make sure you've got the drill exactly on the spot you want, and then speed it up to get the hole done.
I love it. Oh my God. That's gonna make life so much simpler. Oh my God.
The advantage of Don's with the foot pedal is that you don't have to take your hand away
Right, right.
or take the drill bit out. You can do it while the drill bit's still in the
Sure.
wood. So you're not trying to get it back in.
Yep, yep, yep.
Get one of the hangers. Amazon has them, Micromic has them. They clamp on your desk.
Yeah.
Right.
Go up about, I don't know, 30 inches or so.
Yeah. Yeah. I got one when I worked for Sears. Sears had them. I think Harbor Freight might have those foot pedals as well.
It could have, I don't know.
Yeah, I bought the Dremel, the one you're talking about with the cable, and they give you the pole
Yeah,
and all
you've
that
got one of
stuff.
those.
Yep, yep.
Oh.
So I just need the pedal and I'm good to go. Okay, so Harbor Freight or okay, good. Cool.
Get the chuck too, Tom,
Yes.
because it's great because you can go from a number 80 drill to a tool that has, you know, an 1/8 inch shank in it without having all the fiddling around with the wrench and all that stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, that makes me nuts. Yep, yep. Yep.
Now, Micromark has two of those types of chucks right now. One's called it's a micro chuck, and the other one's a mini micro chuck. Okay, so the minis you're supposed to be able to go down to number 80 drill bits. The micro still does small drill bits, but allows you to go a little bit bigger.
I'll probably need the
So
mini.
they're about $12 a piece.
What
Plus
I would
shipping.
suggest is just go to Home Depot and they've got a Dremel display and buy the Dremel one.
Yeah.
It'll go from 0 to at least 1/8 of an inch.
Lowe's carry Dremel too, or is it just Home Depot?
I don't know if Lowe's does. I go to Home Depot because they're closer.
Yeah.
But
That's where you go, Tom. You go over to the Home Depot all the time.
Yep, yep, yep. Or Lowe's, but I'm thinking I don't remember a Dremel display over at Home Depot. They must have one.
well, they do at mine. And
Yeah.
there's two types of chucks. I don't know who makes which one. Dremel makes one where you take off the collet closer and the chuck screws right on there.
Right.
There's another one where the chuck has like an 1/8 inch shank. And so you have to put it in the 1/8 inch collet and tighten the collet closer down. That one's not quite as good because it has a tendency to bend. And then of course it's worthless. The 1/8 inch shank bends, especially if you drop it or something like I tend to do.
Tonight's our true confessions night.
Yes, yes.
Finally found the circus train.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, would you like to see that?
Yeah.
Mm. I gotta share first. Okay, so maybe I can zoom in. Well, I don't know, the Photos app on Windows 10 doesn't seem to be as good as the old one. I just upgraded. Let me try opening with something else there.
Oh, that's a nice shot.
Thank you.
1890s.
No, this is the ACWRR 1943. That's the background.
That's a nice model railroad.
Yeah. Should be its 1-to-1 scale.
There we
Here
go.
we go. Can you see the circus train there?
I
Yeah.
like the elephant car.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to mention that one. So,
Now, did you pick these off of actual circus trains or?
no, this is all from my mind. I basically made it all up.
Wow.
You know, I'm sure it's not a real, you know, there was no real circus that was quite like all this, but
Right.
you know, it was just something that I wanted to do, and you know, I wanted a 1890s aesthetic circus train. So,
Very nice.
Thank you.
What was your next shot?
This is just kind
Okay.
of closer on the boxcars.
All styrene?
Yeah, so the sides are styrene, the roofs are wood, frames are wood.
Wow, you painted the wheels yellow also. That's
Yeah,
pretty circus.
I've heard of painted wheels. I'm not sure if they were that common, but I just did it for this one. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So that next shot is your layout?
Yeah, so the next shot is the train on the layout. And right now the staging yard's not hooked up. It's got to go around the curve to dodge the electrical box. This is about probably a year ago. Well, no, closer to 6 months now.
Okay.
So this was, I've now got this is where the main yard is. I've now got all the track laid into that. And also a coal dock, and I'm working on a roundhouse, or not a roundhouse, but an engine house, 2-stall.
Hmm. So 2 questions on that. You
Yep.
have a turnout on the left side. Is that going into like a stub end?
This goes into a stub-ended yard. Yes.
Okay.
So
And then the
go ahead.
locomotive at the end, where is that headed to?
That is headed east towards Albuquerque.
But that's the dead end of your layout, right?
That's the end of the layout.
Okay.
I thought it was going for Niagara Falls. Wow.
And you got 50 feet. That's not a bad size, man. That's a good distance.
Thank you. Yeah, so this yard's about 10 feet. Well, the yard itself is 8, the module is 10. And then I have 2 more 8-foot modules along the same wall, and then a corner, and then 2 6-foot modules where there'll be another town.
Do you have any photos of them?
Not yet. I mean, they're real rough right now. This is
Okay.
the farthest along. And it hasn't gotten very far since I took this, other
That's
than
all
laying
right.
a little bit more track.
You eventually going to get the sky up taller?
No, because I'm going to put a valance on here, and once you have that, you won't need it any taller.
Makes sense. Yep. Yep.
So,
That's great. You know what? Even wherever you are in the stage of the development and the other sections of the layout, just a few photos of those, and you're good to go for 15 minutes or whatever you want to share with the group. I mean, for me, it's always kind of inspiring and motivational to see what others are doing. And you never know what you can learn from each other when you're doing this, especially for the fellas in the introductory meet that, are still working on plans.
Yeah.
That's good.
for sure.
So I'm not going to publish this because I don't want them to see what he's doing.
So here's another angle of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is it, you said it's about 50 feet? About how
Main
long
line.
is this wall?
This wall is just under 30 feet. I think it's like 28.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then, it goes around the corner, and then it's only 12 along the next wall.
Right.
Okay. Now your cart hooks up to the end there, just to the right of the engine, right?
Right.
Okay.
So that's the point.
Do you have any photos of the cart? That I'm interested in too.
Oh, the cart? Yeah, I haven't even laid track on it yet, so
Okay.
it'll be a little while. That's the plan. I don't know if it's going to work that well. I
So
think
that's going to be on wheels.
yeah, so it's basically the entire staging yard is on wheels, rolls on the floor. So,
Wait, when you
you know,
say this,
I hesitate to endorse it before I know how well it's going to work. I've never tried this. You know, the other plan that I have is, instead of having a turntable here, there was actually a Y at this location. And instead of having a Y, I'm just going to have one track that goes off onto another cart that I can then disconnect, turn around, and use it effectively as a turntable.
right,
Okay.
like a mobile Y.
Yeah,
That's
Good idea.
cool.
Good idea. That's great.
yeah, thank you. That's pretty much it. That's about all the pictures I've got right now. All the projects I've done in the last year or so.
Okay.
Pretty much talked about.
Hey, Phil, would it be possible to get a copy of the photo of that A&P Express card?
Yeah, I can get that. Absolutely. Let me see if I can dig it up here. Okay. PTSF info. Guitar photos. Oh. It was not sent to me super high resolution, and I'm not entirely sure where the guy got it. He's a member of this group, Stan Pax. Let me see if I can find links. Got a presentation somewhere here. Okay, give me a minute to find it.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. You know, whenever. I know the guy who did my decals, he did a lot of research and finally came up with his best guess.
Ah, here we go.
And
Found
then
it.
provided me with decals, so I couldn't complain. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Now that is better than anything that he had.
Is that X like part of the
At the paint scheme.
it is.
Yeah, I've got a newspaper article that describes the red and white cross on the doors, but that definitely not red and white. I don't think it is anyway.
There's two variations in color on that
Yeah.
cross. Yeah, the one going from top left to lower right seems slightly darker than the other one.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
there
does.
there was a discussion on early rail group, was our pre-1895.
Yeah.
One of those groups just had a discussion about the markings on the doors.
Yeah, if you could,
Now me, I'm looking at that picture, I'm looking at the cattle for paint schemes on cattle.
if you could
Or
email
oxen.
that picture to me, Phil, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get it in a format that it's really easy to blow it up or anything. I have to
You know,
put it into a PowerPoint and zoom in.
that's more information than I've got. So
Oh, look at that. Well, that's a nice building for that matter. Jeez.
yeah, Santa Fe route.
So yeah, and this finally gave me the confirmation of the Santa Fe stretch skin herald too. I was like, wow, it's only too bad I don't have a card number though.
I can't tell underneath the ATSF, is that like markings for weight limits and yeah, that kind of
That-
stuff?
No, they had like a stretched. It's like a 4-point star, and it says Santa Fe route in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
somewhere I've got a drawing of that. Or a
And that
cartoon.
where that X is, it looks like that's all chalk marks on the door.
Hmm.
Well, no, this is so from what I can tell when I zoom in, what I see is that they put the X over a door that already had AT and SF on it. So if you can kind of,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I was gonna say it looks like there's markings on the right side of that X.
right.
All those
So
white.
there's definitely some chalk marks on there, right?
Okay.
But from a paint scheme perspective, it's pretty clear to me that they had AT and SF on the door and put the X over it.
Now, what was
Some
the
of these
purpose of
cards
the
were-
X?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it just marks it as being part of the what I'm actually told is the Atlantic fast freight line, not Atlantic and Pacific.
Oh.
Let me
okay.
quote
The thing
from
is, all these cars were owned by the Santa Fe. So they would
Okay.
have had an AT&SF on them, not an ANP.
Let me quote from an article that might help.
Mm.
This is from the November 7th, 1884 Las Vegas Daily Optic.
Yep.
It says, makes reference to 400 boxcars assigned to the A&P Fast Freight Line being painted yellow and marked Atlantic and Pacific Fast Freight Line to one side of the door and AT&SFRR to the other side of the door. The cars 28 foot, numbered 301 to 700. January 19th, 1886 article in the same paper indicates the time freight cars of the AT&SFRR are all painted yellow with dark green doors. They are easily picked out on any train or yard, saves the tracer's trouble. Now, somewhere I have something that talks about the X. Okay. It says, oh, this is from the, you probably have the AT&SF boxcar book.
Yep.
Yeah, this is from that. It says
Actually,
some
I've
but
seen
not
it.
all have an X on the door, consisting of a red band from top left to bottom right and a
Mhm.
white band from bottom left to top right. The red band is painted over the white band at the intersection. So anyway,
Yeah.
That's
so much
something you
for
see there.
AT&SF fast freight lines.
Interesting.
It
Hey,
doesn't really appear that there were any rules because we don't see the Santa Fe route arrowed on any other cars for the pictures that I've seen. So,
Hmm.
but yeah,
The angle, the roof walks up in the top center look really narrow, and it could just be the angle.
well, the roof walks, early roof walks were just one like 2x12 wide, right?
Well, okay, I didn't know.
Well, they varied in the east.
Yep.
Yeah.
some had none.
Yeah, and some had 2 boards, some had 3.
That's a great shot.
The Max
So
one.
Atlantic and Pacific, isn't that what became the A&P grocery?
No, I don't
Oh.
think so.
That became the Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Oh, A&P, what was the A?
That was a
A&P
joint-
stands for Atlantic and Pacific too.
Oh, no, and there's no connection actually.
So what I think this says, to my eye, it's like Atlantic and Pacific or Atlantic, whichever. Yeah, but Atlantic and Pacific, we'll take the book for gospel, I guess. And so Atlantic and Pacific Fast Freight, AT&SF, and the car number on the other side.
And is that a line down the middle of the X on both sides?
Line in the middle of the
Looks like it.
Looks like a little
Oh.
line.
Yeah, so maybe they had like 2 strips or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good eye there, Walter. Yep.
So, yeah, I'll send that your way.
I want to show you a picture when you're done
Yeah, sure.
here that, let me see here. Have you seen this one before? It's a ticket office. I believe it's in Denver.
Yeah.
But anyway, the guy that designed the decal set I used, his interpretation, he didn't have your photograph, I know. He didn't have one that got clear. But what he made the assumption was this looked like a nifty Herald.
Yeah.
And so he decided to use that, lacking any evidence to the contrary. So anyway,
Yeah.
we all make a decision. So it's hard to tell what's on that car.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I mean,
Has anybody ever been to the Davy Crockett Hotel in San Antonio, where when Amtrak goes in and spends the night, You can go up to Davy Crockett Hotel, and they have tons of pictures from the late 1800s of the local area. And it's interesting to see the names, the typefaces they use. Almost everything looks like it's white letters on a dark background. But for type examples plus names, I found it fascinating.
No. It's only been to San Antonio once.
Got an email from John Bopp asking for the link.
Part of what I discovered is don't red star any of the emails except for the ones that have the links in them. That makes it much easier for me to find which emails have the links for the Zoom meeting. Because the way my work is now, I don't have time to do anything. But I had a special request on the boxcar build. If anybody wants to build something, hadn't thought of what, I read somewhere they talked about when Confederate soldiers were being moved. A lot of times they'd love to just knock out the sides of the boxcar so they could see make some boxcars that have the top half, knocked apart.
Yep.
So the troops could, watch the countryside. And I'd love to model that, but it just hadn't got to. So
if
anybody,
Walter, if you see some videos of Tom's layout, he's got a few cars that he's done like that.
oh, he has. Oh, cool.
Hey, John.
Walter, I wanted to ask you, you said, was that comment about the red star? What was that? About the email you said?
I read, I forget what the talking was. Oh, yeah, the email. In my email, whenever I get an email from you that's specifically on the Zoom meeting that has the information, I put a star by it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And when they put a star by everything, well, then I can't find where it is. So I told don't red star anything except the ones that have the Zoom meeting links in them.
Is that something I need to do on my end?
No.
Okay.
I found that what I've begun to do is mark them as unread after I've read them.
Yeah, that'll help.
So,
because my computer, for some reason, wants to put yellow flags. And one of the things I learned back when I was in my 20s, okay, that as you get older, it's hard for older people to see yellow. Like I was in a director of a rest home and found out very quickly you can't paint the walls a pretty yellow color. It works havoc with people's depth perception. So that's why I ended up just having to mark them unread, because those little yellow flags, the one that I didn't mark, I wasn't sure if I still had the link from Tom or not, because I had marked it with the little yellow flag and I just went over it and over it.
So John, is there a car you wanted to share with us tonight?
Yeah, I don't I don't know what happened. I never saw a mail with the link.
Huh.
Don't know.
Yeah, went out, I think like on February 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, well, I saw ones that I thought would have had it, but they didn't. So don't know what's going on there.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I've got a car to work on for the group build. Don't have a big audience, but I'll be glad to show it if you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
All righty, then we'll okay, everybody seeing that?
Mm,
No.
Yeah.
No, nobody's seeing that. All righty. Okay, Mr. Share Screen button. Oh, this looks better.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so Well, so what I'm going to build is a Concord Car Works, Central Railroad of New Jersey, 28-foot round roof boxcar kit. And this is an all wood Craftsman kit from the early 1950s. Of course, it wasn't a Craftsman kit then, it was an easy to build kit, but somehow something's changed and now it's a Craftsman kit. I know I had mentioned, I think that was a paradigm shift there, if you ever wondered what that was. And so for anybody not familiar with these things, here's the instructions from it to give you an idea of what it is.
Wow.
And it's got a nice drawing of it. This is actually a nicely done kit and it's pretty accurate. It's a little light in some details, but I think I can work on that. So here's the first page of the instructions, and here's what the car itself is. Now, they call it a 28-foot round roof boxcar because see, it's got the radial roof, but the 28-foot is over these end sills. And I think normally when they talk about the length of a car, they're talking about the length over the body.
Right.
Yeah, and
Actually,
it's
inside
25
that.
foot. It's 25 foot over the body. So I would call this a 25-foot car, even though they don't. And you can see there's some interesting kind of unusual details on it. On one end, I guess this would be the B end, we got a vertical brake shaft here. Got a platform, and these are, they call them ladder rounds, but I would call them long grab irons. There's 3 of them, and then there's another one right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
We got corner braces.
Mm-hmm.
Over on the other end, we've got a vertical brake wheel, what you'd normally call it, or what the Pennsylvania Railroad called a tunnel brake. And corner braces again. Got the radial roof with a roof walk, although the roof walk is not up on any kind of supports. It's just kind of right there on the roof. And over here, what they're calling a roof step is a platform here by the brake wheel. And you can see that right here, but there is not one on this end.
Right.
Not over there. And that makes sense because you don't need one there. It has got truss rods, and those were, you didn't see them that often on Civil War era cars, but I don't know that I would say that you never did.
Correct.
And here is the back of the instructions, the rest of it. There's a drill in the holes to put all those grab irons in. Here's a finished car.
Right.
One of the
Suggested-
interesting, yeah, one,
Suggested, go ahead.
oh, sorry, John. I was gonna say, with the cars I did that, if you go up to the end drawing there where it shows you where to drill the holes,
Mhm.
I actually, because I had several of the kits, I took one out and mounted it on styrene, drilled out the holes on styrene, and just lay that on your car and drill right through there. I think someone was asking about how you keep the holes even.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
the
that's a
way
good
to do it.
idea. Well, I actually have 2 of these cars to build and one of them to complete. And if I'm going to build one, I might as well do all of them.
Yep.
Now, here, also included in the kit is a parts list
Mm.
and a little 1-page history of railroads from 1850 to 1870. So why have books when it's all right here? And I got the parts list. This kit comes with trucks. It comes with what look like might be Central Valley arch bar trucks.
That was my estimate.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think. And at the last Zoom we had, somebody asked about how do you deal with gluing something down to that radial roof? Well, here's their method. So first you get your Turkish towel and fold that up there, put a handkerchief on it because you know you got lots of those. And then you glue the roof in place and just press against it until the glue is set. So, you know, you might be there for a couple hours. That's their method.
They're
Okay.
shortcuts.
Yeah. So now
Temp it down.
here's the kit. It's got the, well, one of these is the floor, and I think this one's the roof.
Right.
This is the roof overlay. You got end blocks, and interestingly enough, these are cut across the grain. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And I think these might be bolsters and
End
end sills.
Yeah.
Fascias, I think, roof walk probably. It's one
Yeah.
wide plank, miscellaneous wood for something, and corner braces. One of them's already bent. Now I've got two finished cars and two kits and one car that I got basically assembled but not detailed. And I know I didn't get these all at the same time. And I think maybe this bag of parts is out of the kit here, and this is extra stuff for the incomplete car. I don't know. What we got right here are individual planks to put on the floor. So you can see them if you have the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Two versions of the car. One of them has these plain sorts of sides, and this one is green line. They're green. And I don't know what to think about that. I was kind of hoping John Ott would be here and have some comment on this lettering style. It doesn't ring true to me. I've never seen a photo of one of these cars, so I got no idea if this is accurate. And I'm not sure if I want to build these with using the painted sides or just, you know, paint the whole car and letter it.
Well, John, a lot of the colored lines, blue line, red line, and so on, actually were painted the color that they're supposed to be. Like the red line cars and the blue line cars were painted those colors.
Oh, right. No, I realize that, but I did a little reading. I've been trying to do a little, you know, do my homework on this before I start. And what I've found about the green line, well, first of all, the green line and these others are fast freight lines, and they're all post-Civil War. They're what they call cooperative lines, where they were owned by railroads, groups of railroads who contributed cars to them. And what I found out about the green line was that it was a Southern fast freight line. So the New Jersey Central being a part of it, I'd want to look into that. There was another green line that was that was owned by the Empire Transportation Company, the Empire line that you might see on some later boxcars, and that wouldn't be Jersey Central either. So, you know, the style of lettering and actually what it is, you know, if somebody dug up photos of these cars, then you'd know. Now, thing about this is that plans for this car exist. This particular one is from the 1881 Car Builders Dictionary because that one's online and it was easy for me to get. But the same drawings also appear in 1879 and 1888 Car Builders Dictionaries. Obviously, those are way after the war, and I'm not sure quite what to make of that. Car Builders Dictionary doesn't always have the latest and greatest in it. It sometimes has obsolete stuff. And if this same drawing appeared almost 10 years apart in Car Builders Dictionaries, even if it was up to date in 1879, it sure wouldn't be in 1888. So I'm a little suspicious of this being a car that was actually built in the 1870s and 80s. It's small, it's got kind of old-timey features for the time. But anyway,
It's a little wider. This would be good if you were running it, especially in a train of Mantua cars.
well,
But if you go by the CFR Junior article in the March 69 model Railroader, this car's a little bit wider. I still have 5 of them right now, but
well,
a little wider, and I eliminated one of the brakes on mine.
well, I've got my partially built one in my hand, and I'm about to grab a Mantua car, so I'm going to check that out for myself, because I actually think they're pretty narrow. So I will be right back.
Were these cars built in Jersey?
We lost John for just a minute.
Oh, I thought somebody might know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking Central Railroad of Jersey. I was wondering if they were built in Jersey or this was like just a generic car and this was just labeled for Jersey.
Well, the Union Line, which became a subsidiary of the Pennsylvania Railroad, you and I were talking about that earlier, maybe this week, actually was beginning about during the Civil War period. And what's cool is that they used a wider tread. So like
Oh.
you run like proto 88 wheels, but with the Union Line, one of the things is that even though it was a wholly owned company, they didn't do car sharing. The tread was wider, so you could use code 100 wheels with the wider tread, and would be kind of prototypically correct. And they did that so they could run them from like Philadelphia west to Chicago, and they couldn't run it on like New York Central or broad gauge lines, but they could. They didn't have to be exact. They could run them on 4 foot, 8.5 inch, or 5 foot lines. It was kind of cool.
Right. Well, I've got when I'm done with this, I'll show you one of these things in a Mantua. I think they actually are noticeably narrower. Anyhow,
They are? Okay.
You can see there's some hardware detail that the model doesn't include. There's these things, whatever they are. Could probably do better with the lower door track, but you can see there's the tunnel brake on one end, vertical staff on the other. There's the little platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that
Here's
vertical brake, is that just
Grab iron.
is that just doing one wheel? It looks like the tunnel brake is doing 2 wheels, and then the other one just does 1 wheel.
Well, it's not. We'll see that.
Okay.
And right here we've got a pull chain hook, and so that's a detail I can add. That'll be neat. But it's only on the right side. It's not over here on the left. Okay.
On
Here's
the opposite side of the car, if you flipped it over, would there be, like we're looking at this side. Now, if you looked at the other side, would it be on the right-hand side of the other side of the car too?
It would be symmetric. Yeah. Yes, it would be.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So, and here's something that's interesting. The door is open, but what's this going on here? It looks like a slatted door where you could open the main door, close this, and have a sort of like ventilated car.
Oh,
You
It
sure
doesn't
it isn't
include
the
that.
back side of the car on the door on the other side?
No, again, we'll see. This is a pretty interesting car. So here's
the frame.
here's a section through it, and you can see what the truss rods are doing.
Wow.
And here we got the plan, and here you can see what's going on with the brakes. Okay, both brake wheels operate. It's got 8-wheel brakes, and both. What I think is happening is that both brake wheels operate all 8
Uh-huh.
wheel brakes. There's in John White's freight car book, and maybe in the William Voss book, there are diagrams of various what they call the foundation gears, and this one which I don't remember the name of, is shown.
You said
you
something
call-
about a pull chain, John?
There's a loop here, and here's the loop down here.
Yeah,
And what was that for?
Well, you know how polling works with a polling pocket and a pole?
Yep.
Well, this is for pulling. You hook a chain over it to the locomotive on the next track and you pull it along.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they didn't feel the need, they only felt the need to have them diagonal.
Got it.
But right
that
here,
seems like
you-
a structurally weak point to put
Well,
one of those.
yeah.
I mean, this is what it is.
Yeah,
It is what it
right,
is. So
right.
it
There's
just-
a lot of things that are hard to understand. Anyway, right
Ooh.
here is that what I think is that slatted door, and here is basically a pocket for it. So it's a pocket door.
Ah,
you
wow.
know? Like I got a pocket door in my house between the kitchen and the dining room.
Yep.
This is a pocket door.
Yeah,
And
that's
this is
set
slatted
up
one.
pretty much like a baggage car where they had some slats in here to protect the door when it was in the open position, so you couldn't store anything up next to it, and jam it.
Yeah, it couldn't catch on the cargo.
I
right,
think you're
yeah.
right. It even looks like there's round rods.
Mhm. So I think it would be neat to build one of these cars with the main door open and put this door in here so you can see it.
Yes.
That would be very cool, John.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
what I think. And here are the end views. And again, you can see it, there's the arrangement of grab irons, just like the car has. And here's the platform at the B end. And there is something on here also that is not on the kit. And if you look right here, 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 and there's a kind of a flaw in the drawing, it should be here. I think those are grab irons. I think there's a ladder of grab irons going up to this platform on the car side at this end of the car, but not at the tunnel brake end of the car.
That would make sense with the stirrup down there.
Yeah, well, exactly. Right there, down there, yeah. So a lot of neat stuff going on with this car. And here is the one that I have that is built but not detailed. And of course, we got the ever popular Mantua couplers here.
Mm-hmm. And whose trucks are those, John?
I think they're Central Valley.
That's right.
They
Yep,
might
I agree.
They might be Cliffline Micromotive. They're pretty similar. They're a 5-foot wheelbase arch bar truck. And in the Car Builder's Dictionary drawings, it doesn't show you what the trucks are, and it doesn't have any dimensions, but it has a scale. And if you scale them out, they scale out to 4-foot 6-inch wheelbase. So these trucks are too big, too new for this car.
Mm.
Yeah.
So here's this is one I'll finish. I'll try and see if I can't do a better job of matching the paint. I don't know how well you can tell, but it doesn't match very well. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to find any 410M brand boxcar green paint though.
Right. That's close. That's a reasonable close.
Weather it a
Match.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a possibility. And I think when I mentioned this car a couple of weeks ago, I think DC mentioned that they didn't all have the same road number. And sure enough, this is different from my unbuilt kit. I was ready to sell this, and once I saw it was different number, I said, oh, I'll just hang on to that and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one, and here's my target to look at. This is one of Al Mueller's cars, and this is one. And
Those are probably,
it's just it's a fantastic job. It's
yeah.
beautifully built, beautifully finished, very subtly weathered along the bottom here. And obviously he's repainted it and relettered it.
Yeah,
whether, you know, where, I mean, this would be typical of the early 1860s. You know, you had a car number and a name and a capacity. I mean, you didn't have much more. There was essentially no interchange of cars, so you didn't need much.
Those are BTS trucks, I think.
I think
I
they
think
are. Yeah,
so.
they're brass trucks or BTS.
Yep.
yeah.
So there's brake shoes on one truck only.
Yep.
Now Al didn't make an attempt to really follow the detailing in the instructions. He doesn't have the grab iron arrangement, and he's put a grab iron on the roof, which there isn't, and he doesn't have the one at the side along here that there is. So he just, you know, I think just wasn't interested in doing that. But
He also left the brake on the, off the other end.
right, well, there's no brakes on this truck. So there's
Right.
no need for a brake wheel. There's just
Right.
this tunnel brake and four-wheel brakes. So I'm hoping when I'm get done, I can have something that won't look too shabby in comparison.
Are the angle braces on the corners, were those like nut and bolt castings that were drilled into there?
In the model, you mean in the model or the prototype?
The model here.
In the model, they're stamped.
Yep.
With the rivets like embossed on it, and I believe they're steel. They're very nice. I wish you could buy that part now. They are really nice, and I'm glad I've got enough to add to that semi-built one I have.
Oh, so that came with the kit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's included with the kit.
Oh, dag.
And something that I don't think really shows up in this picture, but Al has done something to represent seams going across the roof, as though the roofing was applied in
Yes.
strips. You know, we talked about that, and John Otts talked about that a little last time with paper tape and that sort of thing. I don't know if that's what Al did here or not, but that detail is there.
Nice.
So this is my target. This is what I'm aiming for.
Right.
Now, I've been doing some homework. I haven't actually started building yet, but you know, I got the complete kits. The plans are available, but there's questions that are unanswered, and maybe somebody here could help out on that. And the questions are, first of all, when was this car built? Was it really an 1880s era car? Seems to me a bit old-fashioned. By the 1880s, the Pennsylvania Railroad, for example, had 36-foot boxcars with peaked roofs. And this car seems like an antique compared to that. Could it be 1860s, early 1860s Civil War? Well, it sure could be, or at least you could detail it to make it like one. And next thing is, what kind of trucks did it have, since the drawing doesn't show it. And there's no illustration of the car in the Car Builder's Dictionary. There's just those drawings, just those plans. If this really is an 1880s car, as its inclusion in the Car Builder's Dictionary suggests, it would probably have arch bar trucks. Certainly by the 1880s, I don't, you know, maybe New England railroads were still using wood frame because they were not very progressive, but probably arch bar truck. In the 1870s,
Could have been.
later probably arch bar, earlier wood frame. 1860s, most likely wood frame, possibly arch bar by the late 1860s. I took a look through the Abdul book, and I only saw one car in there that I thought might have arch bar trucks, and I really couldn't tell. So
Question, John.
if you know when the car was built, that'll tell you a lot about what trucks it had. I got one more thing and then I'm done. And then, how was it painted and lettered? Like the kit, I said, the kit lettering doesn't ring true to me. But if not, then what? You know, then who knows, you know, then you're guessing. So that's my build for the group.
Nice, nice. A question I have was, even in the instructions, there was no indication like where the car was built. I was thinking Central Railroad, Jersey. Was it built in Jersey or we don't know?
No, there's nothing in the instructions that says anything about it.
Okay.
You know,
They don't acknowledge that the plans, you know, where the plans came from. It just, you know,
Yep.
I mean, this whole newfangled idea of prototype modeling doesn't seem to be a big thing at the time this was built. And I think this car is amazingly good, actually, for the time. Some stuff from the early 50s is pretty bad.
They're neat kits. John, something that we noticed in looking like through all the images we could see from the Civil War, and it kind of rings true. The railroad technology kind of began along the East Coast. Okay. And when you see cars in the Eastern theater of the war, they tend to almost entirely have the wood beam trucks, as you noted. But as you get to the Western theater of the war, you began to see cars that had the, you know, they're probably rigid arch bar trucks. So which you would expect, because a lot of times, like you had mentioned about New England, where technology's developed, a lot of people become, you know, there's a lot of vested interest in that technology. And whereas when you get into the West and the outskirts, there tends to be more of a technology as it's transferred, it tends to evolve, and you get more innovations along the fringes in the frontier of the technology, as it was.
Yeah, well, you don't have a lot of pre-existing old stuff.
Correct.
You're starting out with new stuff, so you start out with the newest.
you know what the number series of the cars were?
No, I don't know. I don't have any railway equipment registers that go back into the 1880s or 70s. I don't know when they were first published, but if somebody had one, they might be able to find something like, you know, there's 25-foot cars in the such and such number series.
The
I don't
first
have
time,
access to
the first one that I've got where the railroad appears is 1888. And it shows that there's boxcars in a number series 197 to 900, 804 of them, but doesn't list any length. So that's semi-helpful. But let's
Yeah,
see.
here's the numbers I got. This green line is it's 505. The built one is
200 something.
227.
Now, if you look at Jack White's book on page 129, goes over to 131, he talks about the green line. I haven't read it, I just looked it up.
Okay, I got to make a note of that. Okay, what were those pages again?
129 to 131, so it's listed in the index.
Okay.
And he's talking about fast freight lines, and then before that, and then he talks about shipper lines.
Right,
So
right. Okay.
I haven't read the details on it, but that's where, according to his book, the green line's mentioned.
Okay, well, I'll have to read that. I've only just kind of started looking into this. And I'll get out of here now. Maybe I will. Come on.
Oh, they are neat kits. They are neat kits.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple of them from, I don't know, what somebody gave them to me. And I kept one. I tried to give it to our club because we run Central Jersey, or New Jersey Central, but they laughed at me and they thought I was trying to convert the railroad from a 1950s to an 1880s.
That would be a good thing.
I think so too. Thank you.
Okay, so here is this car,
Oh yeah.
and here is the body of a Mantua car. And
Can you hold them up a little?
Oh yeah.
the
Definitely.
Mantua
small.
really is
It
bigger.
is even bigger.
Yeah. So
It's almost,
that's why size-wise, even if this is a car from the 1880s, it's going to fit right in the early 1860s, I think.
Yep. I agree. That's about the size.
I've got 5 of them that I've done for the Newcastle and Frenchtown Railroad. They are nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Have
Well,
you
I've
noticed
had-
differences in the sizes of parts between your different kits by any chance?
Oh, I haven't.
Because sometimes one kit will
I
have
haven't.
one size part and another kit will have a different size part, but.
No, I'm going to try and keep them separate so that doesn't happen. Not, hey, the 19th century was the beginning of interchangeability of parts. Maybe I should take all the parts, put them in one box, shake them up and pull them out and start building a car.
There you go.
My personal experience says, don't do that.
Okay, all right. I won't.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, any final comments before we close this out?
I just want to say thank you, John. Thank you, Phil,
Welcome.
and everybody. It's been great.
Yeah, likewise. I'm looking for, this, at the very least, this is motivation for me to get going on this Adams Express car that I kind of started. So thank you for sharing with us what you got going on. And we'll see you in 2 weeks unless we see you at the intro meet.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks again, gentlemen. Take care.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good night.
Right.
Night.
All right.